And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Today we're talking about Titanium Wars, which just sounds cool. Doesn't it sound cool?
Yeah,
and it's done by...
Are there mechs in it?
Well, it's done by IELLO, and IELLO for me has a very good track record. I tend to like their games. They do a good production on their card games. On the King of Tokyo, people still talk about. They said they were doing a somewhat heavier game, a card space civilization game, which I'll tell you right now, this is not that. This is more of a how would you categorize this? It's like a light space combat game with cards. Are you
It
gonna say
almost
take
feels
that?
to me like a take that game with economy.
Okay, I'll buy that, but I think there's.
I'll buy that. Get it? Economy? This guy is funny.
Well, let's take a look at the gameplays, and then you can decide for yourself. Now this game looks very complicated, but it really isn't. These are just stacks of cards that are out here, and each card in each stack is the same. And what players are doing is you're going to, at the beginning of the game, you're going to start with a leader card. And each leader is essentially your home planet. Okay, this guy is Planet Arctica, and we have Planet Zephyrus and Planet Muck. Come on, that's a great name. This is your planet. There's some symbols on here that shows how big your hand of cards is, 3, and that shows how many ships you can have in your fleet, 3. The number of hexagons here is the number of upgrades the planet has, and this is how much money you get per turn. And if you notice, all these things are the same on all the cards. The only difference between leaders is they each have a special ability that they can do. So, at the beginning of each round of play, a couple things happen. The players are going to start the game with a handful of tactic cards, and I'll talk about these in a second. But at the beginning of each round of play, we have a set of event cards, and these are event/planet cards. And what this means is you turn over the top one, and it becomes a planet that you're going to fight over. Each planet has a certain number of uranium deposits, which is important because when you get to a certain number of those, you win the game. A planet also has a number of upgrades that can be added to it. It might give some special abilities and money per turn. So each turn, that's the planet that everyone will be fighting over. Now, otherwise, on the other side, it's an event. So let's say I turn over planet Orok here, and this is the planet we fight over, and we have to deal with this event, which is after each offensive, remove 1 damage token from each ship of every player. Sometimes the events are good, sometimes they're bad. Like, for example, one says ignore the special abilities of your leaders, blah, blah, blah. So, then the next thing everyone does is they get money for all the planets that they have or any upgrades that give them money. So they take their money, which is horrific little paper money. I mean, they took paper money and made it worse. But anyway, then simultaneously, all the players buy all this sorts of things in the middle. We have 6 different units up here. We have 6 different upgrades to ships, and then we have 6 different kinds of buildings that players can buy. Now, each of these, let's take a look here at the top. Okay, well, here's a fighter squadron. Each thing has a tech that's needed at the top. The tech here, for example, is 0, and then units will have an attack and defense. Now, zooming all the way down here to where the buildings are, there's different buildings. Let's talk about some of these buildings. If you put a command center on a planet, your card limit goes up by 1. If you put a cyber factory on a planet, which has a technology of 3, then all your ships can hold 1 more upgrade. Laboratory is a big deal because this is how you upgrade and go up to higher techs. So you can have 3 laboratories eventually and have 3 different techs. And there's also, over here, you can see the spaceport lets you have more spaceships in your fleet, more than just the 3 that you start with. Refineries will give you more money per turn. And then you also have a planetary support, which is a building which can shoot at other ships. Then there's the different kinds of ships. So I already showed you the fighter squadron. And there's also cruisers, which are bigger and have a more attack. Minefields, which you can launch. Repair drones, which fix your other ships. Interstellar missiles, which you can blow up to do damage to all all your opponent's ships, and big heavy destroyers, which are the most powerful. You can add laser cannons to these ships to increase their attack. You can have a self-destruct thing on a ship. You can give them a blast shield, which protects them from blast damage. You can give them more armor. You can put hyperdrive on, which means they need to be hit at least twice before they're destroyed. Or put a magnetic target on them, which means players have to hit that ship first. So, everyone buys, and then everyone puts stuff in front of them. They add buildings to their planets. They put the upgrades on ships. They put the ships out in front of them, and so on. Then, everyone decides, are we going to fight over the planet this turn? If you are, and most of the time you will, you'll play a tactic card in front of yourself. Once everyone's played a tactic card, they will turn these tactic cards over, and they will attack with whatever it says. The order of attack goes here from the top. The cards are numbered from 0 to 7, and so the 0s go first, then the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s, and 7s. If two players play the same number, then the damage that they do is done simultaneously. So here, let's say, for example, I played this card. My planetary supports are the ones who are attacking. So any planetary support building I have does its attack. And I look at my planetary support cards. They all have an attack of 2. And they can attack cruisers, destroyers, or interstellar missiles. And they do double damage. So let's say I have one of them on a planet. I use this card, and I do 4 damage to a ship of one of the other enemies who's also attacking. And then that might destroy the ship. It might not. If it doesn't, then they get to do their card. There's a diversion where you can pick a player and their card doesn't do any damage to you. You can see there's a different one here. It lets cruisers and destroyers hit other cruisers and destroyers. Number 7 is a massive attack. Lets all your stuff attack everything of your opponent. Here's an assault, fighter squadrons, and notice that the fighter squadrons will often get to go first. And so there's all different things. You can blow up one of your missiles to do its damage to every ship belonging to the other players who are attacking. After everyone has played their tactic card, you're allowed to discard one tactic card, and you can discard even more than one tactic card, but you have to pay if you discard more than that, and then you draw your hand back up. If there's more than one enemy, if there's more than one fleet still alive who went and participated in this, then the players have a chance to withdraw, or they can keep fighting, and then they play another tactic card, and they keep going till there's only one player who has a fleet left to go and take the planet, and that player takes the planet and puts it in front of them. As soon as one player gets enough planets worth points of uranium, that player is the winner. Everybody else loses. But there's going to be a different kind of planet each turn with a different special ability, and players will slowly build up over time. And that's the game. To let you decide for yourselves. We're going to tell you.
We're going to tell you what you think. This is what you think.
Now, Titanium Wars, I think it's really weird that there's no 2-player option in it.
Right.
I played it 2 players just to test it anyway. And I don't see why that's a problem.
Well, because I think...
I mean, you're going head-to-head with each other.
Right, I think that's picking on someone as part of the game. So, okay, I'm going to leave you alone because you're getting beat down over there. I'm going to go after them. You want to team up. That's part of the game. Okay,
but with 3 to 4 players, I think this game plays 3 to 4 players. Mm-hmm. 4 is just too many. I know it sounds weird, but I wish there was a rule for almost like a dummy player. I know I hate dummy players in games, but
the game doesn't have to play 4. Not every game has to play 4.
But it's most certainly. In that regard, well, now let's say this. First of all, I think the artwork in this game is phenomenal. Really good artwork. Yes. I was really impressed with the artwork, and it's not hard to understand. It's a very easy game to jump into.
Yes.
I think the card combat system is very unique and interesting, where the lower cards hit less, but they get to go first. So that's a cool way to do initiative without rolling dice. You're basically just hitting each other. I think the game is very fun. And I think we differ on this.
Yes, we do. Well, first of all, I thought... Now, mind you, the first time I played with 4. And I thought the game was really long for how simple it was. Really, way too long. Ridiculously long. And the funny part is you need, 2 cards to win. You need to win 2 planets.
Yeah, the point system's odd.
Which is weird. So you're like, okay, so cool. 2 planets, fine. But that takes forever for one of the 4 people to get 2. Maybe 3.
Yeah, but it does play way faster with 3. It plays way faster.
Yeah, but it's clutchy, and that's the first experience. So that's the first, it's the first time I played, so it made a weird impression on me. Secondly, yes, the game looks good, the system's fine, but it has such a feeling of after every turn, there's a weird reset, and I don't like that feeling. I did not get the vibe that I was getting better at the game as the game went on. I felt like I played rounds, got smacked down, maybe ran away with one ship, got a bunch of money, spent it all again, and got smacked down again.
Okay, but you could pull out earlier.
You could, but
and then the next round you come in like bomb, bomb, bomb.
The cyclical feel of the turns gave me no feeling of a build.
I didn't feel that though, because I think the buildings build up. Your technology is going up. You build buildings to give you more money. You get more guns on the planets as you control them. Your fleet size gets bigger. Your hand size gets bigger. I think hand management's a big deal. In this game, you could pay $150 to discard extra cards from your hand. Sometimes that's way worth doing.
Sure.
I don't know. I think the thing is, when you look at this game, you're expecting something much more than it is. It's really light in a sense.
It is really light. Yes, that's true. The game is.
I was expecting, once we set all those, the first time we set all those cards up at a table, and I was like, all right, you know. And then once you start playing, I was like, oh, that's really easy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good thing in its favor. There's not a million different special abilities to remember and all that, missiles, and everything makes sense thematically.
Yes.
I think it's going to have a very specific audience. I think the people who like take-that games, who want a little bit more, this is up their alley. They just got to realize it's a little bit longer. Most take-that games are 30 minutes to an hour. This one is I would say 45 minutes to an hour with 3 players, an hour to an hour and a half of 4.
Yes.
That fourth player really jumps up the time, because when you're only fighting 2 people, it's easy. Who's stronger? When you're fighting 3, it's I hit, you hit, you hit, you hit. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It moves a lot faster with 3.
The time goes up quite a bit. Again, like you said, you're more enthusiastic about the game than I am. I could see someone liking the game. That's fine. If you like Take That, if you like the sci-fi theme, which is fine. The best way I would have to gauge this, and again, this is going to be referencing another game that you might or might not have played, is this is only the fighting system in Nexus Ops. Remove everything else from Nexus Ops, just the fighting. Initiative 1 goes now, then Initiative 2. If your guy died and he would have gone in Initiative 3, he doesn't go because he's already dead. So do you kill a guy who already went, or do you... That's it. That's the game.
Okay. No, I'll buy that. I mean...
But for me, it was too light.
Too light and too long.
Too mean for how long it is.
Oh, I love the meanness of it.
No, I don't mind mean, but not pointless mean. I don't get anything. It felt like, you know... And so it's just, let's sit here and punch each other for an hour and spend money to get all our stuff destroyed anyway.
Well, hopefully that tells you guys what you'll think of the game. For me, I'd give it, I'm not going to give it 2 thumbs up, but I'll give it 1 thumb up, a big space thumb up. That doesn't make any sense, but I thought it was a titanium thumb. I thought it was good for what it is. You just got to go in with the right expectations. You're playing an upgraded Take That with a pretty cool, solid space theme behind it. Mm-hmm. And you?
And I will give it half a Spaceballs vacuum cleaner down.
All right.
Suck up the trees.
We have the most consistent rating system in any...
I think it's solid. It's
2 thumbs up for our rating system. How's that for confusion? All right. Anyway, that's Titanium Wars.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There?